Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Geraci, 30-year comic book industry veteran, and much longer lifetime, I guess when I was in my pupa state, that I was a fanboy. It's in my blood. Ink is in my blood. Superpro. I knew I'd have to review this sooner or later, but imagine my happiness when I found this in the dollar bin with Captain America. And the credit for the cover, I'll have to ask Ron Friends, but John Romita Sr., Ron Friends, and Joe Sinnott. I'll have to ask who did what. Maybe, they shared the cover. I don't know why, but who knows. So we got Crossbones, real badass, super badass. He could hold his own against Captain America. He has no super soldier serum, but he's super, super badass. He's a killer, and not one to take lightly. This is written by a guy named Matthew Mora. Never heard of him, but Mike DiCarlo is aka Marie Javins. She was a colorist for quite a while. Then she went over to DC to become some sort of executive editor or something. Not executive, but Janice Chang, letterer, David Wohl. I think he went over to Top Cow. Tom DeFalco was the chief. Okay. He's told, you got to go after Superpro. Who? Ha! Piece of cake. Shoop, shoop. And there's a Just Say No campaign about no against drugs, and a bunch of football players are talking. They're talking steroids, they're talking other kind of drugs. So this guy, the camera guy, says, all I know is my mama told me that never to trust any guy with a beady eyes, and that guy looks like a ferret. And I'm like, that's awful judgmental, dude. That's kind of judgy. So, anyway. So, he notices this one person going away from the locker room, and who looks like he's heading to the locker room. But the door hinge is busted. It looks suspicious. Time for Superpro! And I've heard from other people, like Chris at Comics Tropes, the reason this was a year-long merchandise, what do you call those things? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about. They got Superpro because somebody at Marvel wanted a year's worth of a season's tickets for, I don't know, the Jets? I don't know. So they got it. It's kind of a odd thing, but if it's true, it's supposedly legend. So anyway, Crossbones, one of the badass guys, who, he's actually having a hard time with NFL Superpro, who's kind of new at this. I mean, Cap's had decades of experience, so it's so stupid. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say stupid. It's stupid. Okay, he goes, kill you. The old comic trope of, this is 1990, so it should have been dead and gone. A knife! I can't move in time. It should say, kill you. Slice. I'm paralyzed. I feel it. Here comes Captain America's mighty shield. And so he's like, okay, flag face, I ain't getting paid to take you on. So he takes off. And Cap goes, nom, 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 nom. Actually, he's trying to get the poison out and spit it. I found out not too long ago on some documentary that doesn't really work. That's just something that came out of the movies. Maybe it happened once it worked. I don't know. But that's been debunked. So if your friend's poison, don't make it a twofer. So, hey, you certainly have the right colors. I mean, the art's decent. It's just the plot is odd. The script is actually pretty good. I don't know where this guy went to, but and there we go. Here we go, Superpro. You may already be a winner. So I don't know who this Marco Sanzione is, but he's a bad guy. I will have my vengeance. On what? I don't even have to. I can't even bother to learn. So takes it. Here comes a ton of blades shooting out of Crossbones' knuckles, and says, I can't teach you how to say my name. I'll have to teach you a lesson instead. Namely, the best defense is a good offense. So he he goes through a whole line of blades like it was, you know, like it was, I don't know. It's just absurd. So, blam, 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 blam. Let's turn off the lights. This is Crossbones. Remember, the same Crossbones that actually appeared in a Marvel movie and was quite formidable. So, it's really crazy. This was after Nomad, which I bought the first issue. It was pretty cool. S. Clark Hobbiger was the artist. He was basically another Neil Adams clone, and but a good one. And it was a fun book. I got it for a few issues. And then, Journey into Mystery, the Volume 2. It's a reprint. I don't know who did that cover, frankly. I think, speaking of Franks, I think it's Frank Giacoia by the folds on the clothes. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Ron Wilson or Sal Buscema on this, because Ron Wilson was doing a lot of covers at the time. He was like under the tutelage of Romita Sr. So this reprints this issue, which I have the original. What's so funny about this? You know, it looks a little like Doctor Doom. Well, the original Tales of Suspense 31. I see that year. Okay, we just want to see 1975 issue. This actually started to become worth a lot more because they came up with this stupid collector's idea of prototypes. Like, he was the Doctor Doom prototype, so it's worth a lot more than issues before it and after it until, you know, superheroes came along. So, man, I didn't have these stickers, but I remember cutting them out of the book and like playing with them. So yeah. It's beautiful Kirby stuff, but it's poorly reproduced. But it's okay. That's just how it was back then. Now, what I like a lot is there is a Don Heck story in here, and it's Journey to Mystery 74. And the Marvel Masterworks only go up to a certain number, and then they weren't really selling that well during the Monster period. And since then they've collected the Steve Ditko, all the monster and horror stories he did before Spider-Man, before Amazing Fantasy 15, and they did all the Kirby monster stuff and mystery stuff. But Don Heck was not represented, so it's nice to see an old comic that I hadn't read, an old story, and it fits really well. I've said this a billion times before. It's Don Heck. He's suited for, like, he'd be a great like private eye artist, or but it's like superheroes aren't his strength. Although I liked his Avengers a lot, and I liked his early Iron Man. It was just years later he was kind of like, I can't work up the energy to bother. You know, I mean, he didn't say to bother. It just was hard for him because it wasn't his natural. Okay, Spider-Man. My friend Rick had that Spider-Man. It's Aurora. It's Aurora kit that you glue together. I had Spider-Man, the Lizard, Cap, Iron Man. My friend Rick had Hulk, Green Goblin, and Falcon, which isn't here yet. Superhero statues. I got a couple of these pretty cheap about 30 years ago in Portland, of all places. Yay! G.I. Joe meets the Amazing Man. Okay. The Thing from the Swamp. And it's another Kirby story. And it's cool. It is cool. Whoa. I have a little Band-Aid on. It's not so bad. I just kind of bumped it. And then we go to the not too distant past. Wolverine and Ghost Rider. What's cool is the books the place I get these at in Fayetteville, Georgia, Dave's Comics. A lot of them don't have plastic covers, so I can like thumb through them. And I'm trying to think. Oh, definitely John Byrne there on Daredevil and Shaun of the She-Devil. The cover's a little hard to make out, but that's okay. And so we've got Death Watch. Art by Mark Texiera and inked by Harry Candelario. And you know what? I like it. I mean, there we go. That is cool. Texiera, he does amazing stuff, but I think he could use a little inking just to tighten his stuff up. It's already great. Some good wacky hijinks. And we got Shaun of the She-Devil, art by Paul Galassi. Mr. Photo Reference. He was kind of like the big photo reference artist in the 70s before it became more commonplace. So, this is the last page of the of this chapter. I love that. This is This is a view down at an island, and you see all these trees. But you look really close, and the way to get this effect back then. In fact, I still use it. Is you take a sponge and you dip a little ink on it, and you go, but you don't soak it in ink. You get it ink, and then you have scratch paper next to you, and you kind of beat as much ink about it as you can, so then it won't be so severe unless you choose to. So this is Daredevil. It's written and laid out by Sandy Plunkett. I did an episode on Sandy Plunkett and how great he is. It's finished by Dwayne Turner. I don't know what the situation was, but I don't care because you can still see Sandy Plunkett's there. I mean, I'd love to have done the whole thing, but that's a great face. But yeah, young Dwayne Turner, way before he became a superstar. We got the Flesh Tones. Actually, it's Warlock, the alien New Mutant. I've always had a hard time thinking of him as a mutant, because he's not really. He's some techno such and such or another dimension. Art's nice, though. Who did the art? Who did the art? Oh, Scott Daniels. McDaniels. I think they put a S on the end by mistake. And Handy, Mr. Candelario is inking again. So it's really, really cool stuff. So I recommend it. What I would like to see, and this has been brought up before on Facebook and other social medias, they really should do like an epic collection of all the Marvel Comics presents. Do the ones with Wolverine separate, because he's in every one of them practically. And then do all these others. I mean, little by little we're seeing some in collections. We're seeing like the 25 chapter Black Panther story that was done by Don McGregor and Gene Colan and Tom Palmer. And that's been collected. But there's a lot of little nuggets like this that could use collecting. So Howard Chaykin doing a little grease pencil slash China marker, and it gives you that uneven grit. Green Lantern, he doesn't do Green Lantern. Don't you forget it. Issue 196, as of issue 200, the book becomes the Green Lantern Corps, and it includes him, John Stewart, Kilowog, Salazar, and others. So, but Steve Englehart and Joe Staton stay on there, and Bruce Patterson. I don't know what happened to him, but God, I love his inks. I mean, he started, I think in the early 80s, and in that L. Lois Buhalis is the letterer. She was under the tutelage of Tom Orzechowski, the legend who did all those years of Chris Claremont, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know how the guy survived. There is a Green Lantern decides he comes up with this really stupid idea to defeat. I can't remember who it is. Hang on a second, everybody. I'm going to pause this because I forgot. Oh yeah, it's an anti-monitor. So this is during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Guy Gardner goes back to Earth. He goes underwater. There's Hal Jordan landing in his place. Or John Stewart's place. I can't remember where. Oh no, yeah, that's right. There's John Stewart, who eventually marries Cat Move or something like that. I can never say her name right. And it's really well done, but okay. This is where that shark died. According to the info the Guardians fed me, Jordan was fighting a killing machine on a ship full of radioactive waste when it blew. The shark was reduced to atoms, or radioactive atoms, so if I get the precise examination while warping time itself over the way I was instructed, I can bring him back to life. I'm sorry. I love you, Steve Englehart, but those two panels are crazy. the Green Lanterns are powerful enough without time traveling, time warping. That's kind of a pass, a hard pass. And it worked like a charm, brought back this deadly, deadly character, the shark. So, of course, I must feed. He's like, hey, I ain't going to help you. I don't know what you want. So, he's fighting. But if I turn yellow, blast. If you turn yellow, I'm getting out of this soup. And I'm like, mother of mercy, look how great the inks are on that. That's all my silly puppies barking at nothing. So the shark's like ready to squish him. And he gets super huge. I don't know why he doesn't squish him. He just throws him away. You're the substitute. I don't want you. So Hal Jordan meets John Stewart. They catch up a little bit. And John Stewart, as Green Lantern, goes after the shark. It's just, I don't get it. I mean, the shark gets an anti-monitor. Why don't you just get Captain Atom? I mean, he's at least as powerful, and he's already fighting. So it's just really silly premise, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But here comes Guy Gardner, and he goes, what do you need him for? For my mission, I'm going to gather the toughest creeps on the cosmos to destroy the Anti-Monitor's home base, the moon of Award. Are you nuts? The crisis is over. The Anti-Monitor is dead. Like, Power Ring versus Power Ring, you're on. God, that guy could be dense. Guy Gardner. Okay, Omega the Unknown. And I'll say offhand, I'm not a fan. I just, it's almost too clever to be enjoyed, in my opinion. It only lasted 10 issues, and great Gil Kane cover, probably inked by Dan Adkins. So this lasted 10 issues, and I got this mostly because of Nitro. Now this, here we go, it's a fill-in creative team. Instead of Steve Gerber and Mary Screets, it is Roger Stern and Lee Elias as the penciler and Jim Mooney as the inker. I love that combination. I love it because Lee Elias, he is just like Frank Robbins and others. He's from the old Milt Caniff, newspaper adventure strip style, where they can do fantastic images, and when they're kind of pressed to do big superhero stuff, it's just not a good fit. I mean, they're geniuses, but the format's wrong. So here comes Nitro. This is from Captain Marvel. After Captain Marvel 34, where the nerve gas pipe got exploded from Nitro, so Captain Marvel had to close it up. But years later, Jim Starlin would do the first Marvel graphic novel with Captain Marvel succumbing to cancer. So it was like probably the biggest, most amazing callback in comics history. So we see this other guy, James Michael. He talks like a grown-up. He talks like a serious grown-up. And he's like living with these gals who are kind of looking after him because he's lost. Richard Rory shows up from Man-Thing. And I do like the layouts, though. It's good stuff. And Chaz Michael Michaels looks up and sees Omega. There's some kind of connection, not sure. Takes off, and here comes somebody in the shadows. Okay, now we're getting back to Nitro. And he says, like, I'm going to get back at... He says, what a break. This dump is loaded with stuff from Stark International. All I have to do is mess things up here, and Iron Man will come running. Him and Captain Marvel are old buddies. I get my hands on the Avenger, and the Spaceman is good as mine. Hold on a second. He's never fought Iron Man at this period of time. He should not even have a grudge against Iron Man. I've looked. I mean, Nitro appeared in one issue only, and that was Captain Marvel number 34, the last Jim Starlin issue. So I don't know. It was one of the few continuity gaps of the 70s, because usually they were really great about that kind of stuff. Omega Male. And every writer is like, please don't cancel the book, please don't cancel the book. So, but sales decree, they had to cancel it. So, stop, you dirty papa. Like, dirty, you're the guy who explodes. You ain't gonna punch back. Yeah, this is kind of weird how this is blown up big. And this is not during the era where they shared a page like this to a draw. It's just some kind of, I think maybe Lee Elias was given something Roger Stern wanted. Roger Stern, love that. And all the explosives go straight up with a little bit of extra explosions just on the side that knock them down. And the connection of James Michaels is affected. And it's the Fool Killer. That was the guy with the fancy hat. You have 24 hours to live. Use them to repent or be forever damned to the pits of hell, where it goeth all fools. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Today's the last day for the rest of your life. Use it wisely or die a fool. And your friends with you. So, really cool character. Well, that's it for this episode of Comics from My Spinner Rack, or comics that will find a home in my spinner rack. And I had to reread this twice, because I'm like, why would he revive a dead shark villain who is deadly as could be, fly him up to the Anti-Monitor? And as I said with this, I think a lot of the non-Wolverine, non-Ghost Rider stuff should be reprinted. So anyway, hope you enjoy, and have a great day. I will be doing a show on Sunday at the Atlanta Marriott, what's it called? Off of 85 in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm looking forward to you. If you're local, come check it out. And I'll talk to you all later.